the next few minutes, you will know exactly how the FTC's new chatbot inquiry could change your settings, your data, and your kid's default protections. On September 11th, 2025, the United States Federal Trade Commission launched a Section 6B study into 7 of the world's most used consumer chatbots. A 6B study is a legally enforceable request for information that lets the FTC map a market, publish findings, and set expectations without filing a case. The companies named are Alphabet, Gemini, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Meta, Meta.AI, xAI, Grok, Character Technologies, Character.AI, Instagram, and Snap, MyAI. This isn't courtroom drama, it's a spotlight on how these products are designed, tested, and monetized, with a sharp focus on children and teens. Stay with me to see what the agency is asking, why it matters now, and how the next wave of updates could land on your phone first. 1. Why today? The hidden spark behind a very public inquiry. Over the last 3 years, chatbots jumped from novelty to necessity. Students use them to outline essays and check sources. Creators brainstorm, punch up scripts, and clean copy at speed. Small businesses draft proposals and customer replies in minutes. Families ask for recipes, trip plans, and homework help. With that convenience came a new kind of risk. Bots that sound empathetic can be confidently wrong. Personas that feel like friends can blur boundaries, especially late at night for teens. Parents and teachers began asking the same questions. What happens to our conversations? Who sets the guardrails? What if a chatbot crosses a line with a younger user? The FTC's move uses Section 6B, a power designed for moments like this. A 6B study compels companies to answer deep questions about design choices, default settings, data handling, and monetization. It is not an accusation, it is a flashlight. Why deploy it now? Usage is massive, releases are fast, and norms for minors have not converged. By issuing orders to 7 leaders at once, the Commission avoids a whack-a-mole cycle and sets up a side-by-side comparison that will make best practices and gaps unmistakable. One quiet catalyst is the rise of companion-style interactions. Many consumer chatbots are not just utilities, they are characters or assistants designed to feel personable. That design is powerful for learning and engagement, but it carries persuasion risk when the user is young. The inquiry centers that reality. It asks what companies actually test before launch, what they monitor after launch, and how quickly they move when a conversation goes off the rails. It asks how data travels through the system, who can see it, how long it is retained, and whether training on chats is on or off by default for teen accounts. It also asks how characters are created, reviewed, and governed at scale. Fast takeaway: simultaneous scrutiny accelerates convergence. The likely result is clearer labels, safer defaults for minors, and fewer surprises for builders who want to ship fast without reliving the same safety debate every month. Quick check: would clearer teen defaults make you more likely to recommend these tools to families? 2. Inside the black box: what the FTC actually asked for follow a single message through a modern chatbot. You type a prompt, input filters and policy checks run. A large model generates a draft. Output filters shape or block risky content. The platform logs events for quality, abuse detection, product improvement, or safety analytics. The inquiry requests the operating manual behind each step, with special attention to children and teens. Theme 1 is safety by design. What tests run before a feature ships? How do teams simulate youth risk scenarios, from late-night vulnerable chats to peer pressure dynamics? What does red teaming look like? How are severities scored? Who signs off, and which fixes actually ship? Theme 2 is data. Which parts of a conversation are stored? How long? Where? With which access controls? And for what downstream uses? Can users or parents opt out of training on chats, and are those choices obvious or buried? Theme 3 is monetization. Which interface patterns increase session length and repeat use, especially for younger users? Do notifications or persona prompts optimize for time spent at the expense of context or well-being? How are ads or premium upsells interleaved with assistant-like guidance? Theme 4 is character governance. If personas or companions exist, who creates them? How are they reviewed and approved? And what boundaries do they enforce? How do platforms detect and shut down inappropriate behavior quickly and at scale? Theme 5 is disclosures and controls. Where do plain language notices appear? What do parents actually see? How simple is reporting when something goes wrong? Taken together, these questions force a distinction between slide deck safety and system safety, between promising care and proving it. Numbers that anchor this moment tighten the pace. 7 named companies, 1 6B study, 1 public date. September 11th, 2025. If a feature raises teen risk, expect it to move to opt-in. 3. From policy to practice, changes you will notice. First, start with families and students. Expect shorter, clear explanations where they matter most. First run, settings, and moments of choice. A teen account could see an upfront card that says conversations are not used for training by default, that sensitive topics trigger resource prompts, and that certain personas are unavailable. Parents might get a simple dashboard or weekly summary showing which protections are on, with toggles that have immediate, visible effects. Reporting should require fewer steps and deliver faster acknowledgments. When a report is filed, the platform's response should feel timely rather than opaque. Schools and districts will likely shift from ad hoc tolerance to explicit guidance. The inquiry provides neutral language that educators can reuse when explaining why certain defaults exist, and which practices, verification, citation, and safe use rules are recommended. Creators and small businesses will feel interface changes first. Settings will move toward the surface. Toggles for chat retention, training opt-outs, and content filters will be easier to find and easier to demonstrate on camera. Want a title you can copy today? AI Safety Setup in 20 Seconds. If growth nudges aimed at younger users get dialed back, discovery may shift, so monitor analytics and A/B test new entry points, thumbnails, and hooks as product surfaces evolve. Developers and founders should formalize minor-aware discipline now. Build a youth risk test matrix, late-night vulnerable chats, mixed-age group contexts, persona conversations that escalate emotions. Document red team drills, define incident SLAS, and maintain a living safety changelog. Publish a 2-paragraph data note, human-readable, that explains what you collect, why, for how long, who can access it, and how to turn it off. Hosting user-generated personas? Implement review queues, risk scores, and clear suspension policies, then show your community what that looks like. One-line takeaway to stamp this section. Practical clarity increases trust, and trust increases usage. The result is not slower innovation, but faster adoption with fewer backtracks. Quick check, would you switch assistants for a visible Teen Safe badge? 4. Winners, risks, and the trust dividend top channels. Chase markets reward clarity. The first movers will be brands that can prove they test rigorously for minors, explain data plainly, and resolve incidents quickly. Advantage 1 is operational readiness. You already run structured tests, you can export a safety matrix on demand, and your engineers know how to flip a risky feature to opt-in for teens without rebuilding the product. Advantage 2 is narrative credibility. Your privacy notice is readable, your safety page is alive rather than a brochure, and your changelog shows steady improvement instead of sporadic crisis control. Advantage 3 is compounding adoption. When people feel informed and in control, they recommend the product, schools link to your resources, and creators vouch for your controls on camera. Where are the risks? Products that lean on ambiguous engagement nudges for younger users, bury opt-outs, or present confusing data practices will feel pressure. A public 6B report with side-by-side comparisons makes it hard to hide in the gray. Advertisers, partners, and app stores start asking the same questions regulators asked, and the cost of ambiguity rises. This is not the end of fast iteration. It is a rebalancing of incentives. When those rails are predictable, even aggressive iteration becomes less risky because guardrails prevent the worst outcomes in advance. Here is a compact contrast sequence to sharpen the stakes. Path A. Clear teen defaults, first-run privacy cards, and shorter report flows drive higher trust and higher weekly active use while reducing incident volume. Path B. Opaque notices, slower fixes, and tighter external rules extend development cycles and increase rework. Which path would you rather ship into? That contrast is the narrative hinge that keeps viewers watching and gives builders a simple North Star. Earn trust on purpose. One more lens is the investor view. Expect diligence to shift from, "Do you have a policy?" to show us test runs and response times for the last 3 incidents. Products that can answer with artifacts will close faster. The public also rewards honest trade-offs, saying, "We limit X by default on teen accounts and here's why." Lands better than silence. In a crowded field, power plus predictability is the differentiator. Durable leaders will need both. 5. The next 90 days and the year ahead. Signals worth watching. Let's turn predictions into a checklist you can actually use. Over the next 90 days, watch for 3 UI signals. Signal 1. First, run privacy cards that summarize data choices in 2 sentences with a clear action button. Signal 2. A visible minor mode or teen safe badge for eligible accounts. Signal 3. Shorter, clearer report flows that confirm receipt and show follow-up steps. If you work in education or enterprise, expect update emails and FAQs that mirror these changes, which you can share directly with staff and families. From 3 to 9 months, watch for a public staff report summarizing what the Commission learned from the 7 companies. Even without enforcement, such reports often become the practical rulebook. Trade groups may publish voluntary codes for companion chatbots covering persona approval, age gating, disclosure templates, and incident SLAS. Legal exposure shifts when documented gaps overlap with alleged harms elsewhere. So corporate counsel will push for conservative teen defaults and for controls that are obvious at a glance. From 9 to 18 months, expect disclosures to converge on uniform, human-readable language across major platforms. Expect better age verification that aims to minimize sensitive data collection. Expect popular adult features that are riskier for minors to migrate to opt-in with parental approval. The counterintuitive result? Growth accelerates because trust accelerates. People use what they understand and can control. Prediction you can test. At least one of the 7 platforms will launch a highly marketed teen safe mode or badge before year-end to claim the trust narrative, and the rest will follow. Mid-roll tease. In 30 seconds, the 3 UI signals that show which platform is moving first, then 1 action to align with it tonight. Ready? Open your primary chatbot, turn off training on chats for any teen account in your household, and comment whether the toggle was easy to find. That single step anchors a healthier default today and gives us a crowdsourced read on which platforms are already ahead. Comment yes or no. Was the training toggle easy to find on your account? This inquiry is not a break, it is a clarity accelerator. If the outcome is simpler disclosures, safer defaults for minors, faster incident response, and honest trade-offs explained in human language, adoption will rise because confidence will rise. The next versions of ChatGPT, Gemini, Meta AI, Grok, Character.AI, and the assistants inside Instagram and Snap can be both powerful and predictable. Subscribe, hit the bell, and tell me the one change you want to see first. If enough of you ask, I will publish a 1-page checklist you can use tonight to set up privacy, data, and reporting the right way in under 5 minutes.